Why, yes, hello, I am Game Collection Man, here to bring you another episode of Game Collection Plan. And now that that intro is over, finally, hi guys, it's me again, and I'm here to tell you all about the stuff that I picked up in May. May was actually a pretty fruitful month for me. I didn't get a whole lot of stuff, but the stuff that I did get was so extravagantly awesome that I don't care about the quantity so much as I really appreciate the quality. So let's dive straight in. It's going to be a good one. So I'm actually going to do something a little different this time around, and instead of just talking about the stuff that I got in a random order, I'm actually going to talk about it in the order in which I picked it up. And the reason why I'm doing that this time is because as time went on this May, the stuff that I picked up just got increasingly better. So we're going to talk about it in that order. So the first thing that I got is this copy of NHL Hits 2002, which, hooray, I'm really happy that I own this because it's a video game, and it's going to be great on my shelf. But the story behind it is really why I want to touch upon why I own it. So, I'm part of a Facebook group that I've talked about before called Long Island Retro Gaming, and every now and again, the admins will hold little contests and stuff just for fun, and if you win the contests, you get cool stuff. Sometimes those things are games. And one post very early this May was the back of a GameCube disc, and it said, "Guess the disc, take the game home." And I noticed that the inner ring of the disc was very, very golden. And for whatever reason, I just decided to guess the Wind Waker. And that's what it was. It was Wind Waker. So I won, and I got the copy sent to me. I already have Wind Waker, so I ended up selling the other copy to somebody on eBay for much lower than it normally goes for, just because it's disc only, and also because I didn't really need the money. I just want to give the game to somebody who wants to play it. But as a bonus, I suppose, my package, when it got shipped to me, containing Wind Waker, I also got the disc only for NHL Hits 2002. I don't really understand why it was included, but I'm happy that it was. Because it was disc only, again, I had to make a case for it. So this is just an image I printed out of box art in a Blockbuster case. So that's how long I keep these things for, just in case I need to make game cases. So there's that one. And I've never played this game before, and I really don't see myself playing it at all, really. Maybe a couple times, although I have tested it, and it does work. That's something I've gone over before. Before a game has the privilege of sitting on the beautiful shelf here, I do have to test it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't go on the shelf. I replace it. Even if I don't plan to play it, just because I care about that sort of thing. But yeah, so there's that. Let's move on to the next thing. So the next two items that I got, which I have right here, place them right in front of me on my desk here, I actually got, again, because of Long Island Retro Gaming, but this time it wasn't a contest. Instead, somebody posted a photo of 4 NES games saying, hey, there is a Savers in Holbrook, which is a town near where I live, that has 4 copies of Top Gun. So why don't you run down and grab a copy? I already had Top Gun, so I'm passing it off to you. So I was like, okay, I actually don't have Top Gun, despite how common it is. That's another theme that I've touched upon in my pickup videos, is that there are a lot of common games that I don't have because I just kind of put them in the back of my mind because they can be picked up anytime because they're so common and so inexpensive. So I went down to the Savers because I figured I would finally pick up Top Gun because they only had it there for like $4. By the time I got there, they had actually lowered the price to $1 because, for whatever reason, nobody wanted to pick them up. But I noticed that it wasn't actually 4 copies of Top Gun, like the picture that I had seen online had suggested. The way that the picture online was situated, it was 4 games stacked on top of each other like this, and the top one was Top Gun. And the caption that was put up there by the member of Long Island Retro Gaming said 4 copies of Top Gun. So I did pick up a copy of Top Gun because it was the game that was on top of the stack. But the other 3 games were actually Top Gun: The Second Mission, which is harder to find. A lot harder to find, actually. and it was also marked down to just $1. So I got both Top Gun games for NES from that Savers, thanks to Long Island Retro Gaming, and whoever posted that, I don't remember your name. Thank you so much for that tip. And I decided, even though they were only selling Top Gun the Second Mission, the other 2 copies, for $1, I just decided to leave them there and let somebody else find a good deal. I could have taken them home and sold them for more money for myself, but I'm not really that much of a seller as much as I am a collector. I only sell stuff if I can't get rid of it some other way. So there you go. So I'm really happy that I own these. They're super cool. For those of you who don't know, obviously, Top Gun is based on the movie of the same name, and Top Gun the Second Mission is just the sequel to the game. They're not very good, but that doesn't mean they're not awesome, and I really appreciate having them in my collection. They're staples of the NES library, and again, Top Gun is super common, so I'm glad that I was finally able to pick it up. But really happy to have the Second Mission because it's much, much more uncommon. So, happiness all around. Okay, let's talk about the best pickup of May, and I have to bring up my friend Nathaniel again, because if it weren't for him, this wouldn't have happened. At the end of April, I was furniture shopping with my mom and her boyfriend, and I was sitting in the car waiting for them to deliberate what they wanted to do while they were inside. They already figured out what they were going to do, but they were just going in for some last-minute discussion with the store manager or whatever. So I opted to stay in the car. And while I was in the car, I was texting back and forth with Nathaniel about just game collecting stuff. And he mentioned he was currently, because he lives in Connecticut, he was currently shopping at this place in Connecticut called the Danbury Mall. And there is a video game store there. And I don't remember the name of the store, which sucks because I definitely should. I definitely took their card too. So maybe I'll put it in the description once I remember it. But he was there. I'm sitting here on Long Island just twiddling my thumbs in the car at Ashley Furniture Home Store. And he goes, they have something here you've been looking for. He did say what it was, but I'm not going to spoil it now. I'll spoil it when I show it to you. You did say you've been looking for this. They have it here pretty cheaply. It comes in the box with the inserts. Do you want it? And I said, I could not ask that of you, but thank you very much for the offer. And he said, no, I'm going to do it anyway, and you can just pay me back if you like, in small increments. You know, money's tight. We understand that. We're adults. So I'm getting this for you. You can have it. I said, thank you so goddamn much. So that was the end of April. So when I visited Nathaniel and his wife Shannon, 2 of my very close friends, this May, they delivered it to me. And that's actually not the only thing they got me, too. So that thing that I've been looking for is an Intellivision 2. This is the second model Intellivision by Mattel. I've been looking for an Intellivision for the last couple of years, and I don't want to pay the astronomical price that it goes for online, especially considering you can find it really often at yard sales and people that sell it online in the marketplace. The only thing is, anytime I've come across it, by the time it's been, opportune for me to grab it, either someone else already has, or it turns out they're actually selling it for retail as well, which sucks. I don't want to have to pay $90 for a new television. So Nathaniel purchased this for me for $100, which might seem counterintuitive. I just said I didn't want to pay $90 for it, but this is the second model, which is harder to find, and as I said, it came with the box and all of the inserts, including price stickers from original sale and the new sticker on it. And this box is in fantastic condition. It's a little beat up, but then again, it's a cardboard box from the mid-'80s. It's going to be. But it's got all of its glory still, and it's such a lovely piece of history. I'm really glad that I have this. So thank you so much, Nathaniel. I was really, really, really flabbergasted by your generosity, and I know that I'm paying you back, so it's really not generosity, but just the offer to do it for me, because you have to take that sacrifice, at least momentarily, while you're waiting for repayment. you're a really good friend, and I really appreciate hanging out with you. And I'm gonna get all sappy here in my collections video, but you and your wife are some of the greatest people that I've ever met. You are one of the greatest forces of joy in my life, and not only because you help me with my collection, but you're great people to spend time with and talk to, and you get me, despite that we haven't known each other for super long. But thank you so much for my Intellivision 2 with the box. I am in such awe. Thank you so much. So as I said, Nathaniel actually picked up a second thing for me, and we talked about this as well, and he was just like, yeah, I'll add it to your tab. Who cares? You know, we're buds. I know what it's like to be a collector. He's such a perfect human being. So this is something that I had been looking for quite some time, but again, it's that type of thing where if I don't get it, you know, I'll just keep looking for it. I don't want to have to pay retail price for it because I don't like to give up, I guess. So unfortunately, I've never really come across this looking, but that didn't stop Nathaniel from just saying, you know what, if you don't want to pay retail for it all at once, maybe you'll split up the payments and pay me back for it, and I'll buy it for you. It's the Reality Gauntlet, a Reality Quest Gauntlet, I should say, for Nintendo 64. Similar to the Power Glove, this is a glove controller for Nintendo 64. Not similar to the Power Glove, this one actually functions correctly. It still sucks, because who wants to use a glove to play a video game? But it's actually more of a gauntlet. It is called interchangeably the Reality Quest Glove Controller or Gauntlet Controller. I typically call it the Gauntlet Controller because, well, it's like a gauntlet, basically. The way I'm actually going to put it on right here on camera because I'm a crazy person. But, yeah, it's super cool. I at least think it's super cool because, you know me, I collect this stuff, so if I didn't think this stuff was cool, I probably wouldn't be collecting it, but there we have it. It fits on like this. You can use this joystick here to control movement, or you can actually use the swivel of your wrist to control movement. There's a little joint right in here that sends the movement signal to the N64 via this cable. And the buttons are all here controlled by your fingers. So there's A and B and C down, up, left and right, and start is over here, and then we have Z in the center here, L and R. And then there's some turbo functions here with these switches, but I don't fuck with those because I'm not cool enough to use turbo, or should I say I'm not enough of a cheater. And then the controller pack memory card slot is right here in the palm. So this is a thing that exists, and as far as I know, it's not required to use for any games. It's just something kind of neat. Although I might be wrong about that, you never know. But yeah, here it is, the Reality Quest Gauntlet Controller for Nintendo 64. Nathaniel is a patron saint for getting this for me. I'm going to pay him back, but he's super cool, isn't he? Because, you know, friends take you out, they get you stuff to eat, maybe they'll get you a gift for your birthday, like that new shirt you've been looking for. Nope. My friends buy me these. As I was in Connecticut to visit Nathaniel and Shannon, where I received these beautiful things from them, they decided, you know what, why don't we take you to that game store in the Danbury Mall, and you can pick some things up there for yourself at some pretty good prices. I, of course, obliged, and we went there. Considering I just got an Intellivision, I opted to pick up a couple Intellivision games so I could play it. So I got Snafu, which is a very fun multiplayer snake game where you have to snake around and trap your opponents with your body. It's super fun, super cool. I really appreciate this because it's, well, I grew up playing Snake on mobile phones because I'm a child of the 90s and early 2000s. So the fact that this game existed well before I was even born and now I can go back and experience it is something that I really, really love. Not only that, but I got Lock and Chase, a fantastic Intellivision game that I'm familiar with because I know my research. And this is a Pac-Man clone. If you ask me, it's of course not as good as Pac-Man, but then again, no Pac-Man clone is. And then Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. This is the first one for Intellivision, which is called Cloudy Mountain. Although it's technically just called Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, but to separate it, to make it distinguished from the sequel, they they, as in collectors and gamers alike, decided to relabel this game mentally as Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Cloudy Mountain. This is one of the earliest D&D games for a video game system. It's extremely primitive, but I think it's a lot of fun. I've played it a little bit already, but considering it's, D&D on television, it's kind of difficult, especially to control. One of the things about Intellivision, and I still have it here, is that the controller looks like this. This is the controller for Intellivision. It's a numeric keypad with a disc that you use to control the action. This disc not only rotates, but if you press it, it responds in that direction. So up, down, left, right, and you can rotate it so that it's kind of like a joystick, which is pretty intuitive, actually. It's kind of easy to use. The difficulty, though, is that there are also 2 buttons on the side here and 2 buttons on this side. So there's like this really awkward disconnect between you and the controller trying to play it. And of course, with 12 buttons here, 4 buttons on the sides, and a disc that technically acts as a button, game developers were forced to include this. This is an overlay for this controller to teach you how to play the game without you having to constantly re-reference the manual, considering there are a billion buttons on this thing. So you just pop this sucker inside the slot over the numeric keypad, and now, look at that. I know what to press for what action. 1 player, 2 player, whatever blue means, enter, and it says here that to open the doors, you can, or lock the doors, I should say, you use the buttons on the side. And then direction is the disc. So this was a really handy invention. Unfortunately, I was only able to get one for Lock and Chase while I was there, but I'm still happy that I did, because Lock and Chase is, well, probably the most fun one of the games that I picked up, even though I do very much love all 3 of them. In addition to those games, I picked up some other cool stuff at that store, about which I will speak now. So these are the last things that I picked up at that store in the Danbury Mall in Connecticut, and this one is one of them, but I already showed it off. So let's talk about these 2 things. These are the last things I picked up in May. And they're actually not games, but they're close enough. They are manuals. So one of my favorite video games of all time, it's in my top 15, I'll say, is Crystallis for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And I don't have any of the box inserts, anything like that, but at the store, they had a manual that was in kind of crinkly, crusty condition, but I wanted it anyway, so I got it at a discount considering the condition. Here it is, the manual for Crystallis for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And oh, it's so lovely. Look at the screenshots, they're in color, and the hand-drawn images of the in-game items, they match so perfectly. It's like somebody took these hand drawings and they just pasted them right into the game. It's super cutesy and super fun. But the thing I'm the most proud of is this manual for Star Tropics, which is another fantastic game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, because originally this manual came with a letter to the player that is actually required to beat the game. So if you didn't have the manual with the letter attached, you really can't beat the game, unless, of course, now with the advent of the internet, you can look it up and cheat your way through. But I like authenticity. So when I saw this, I was like, oh man, that's so cool, but it probably doesn't have the letter attached. Oops. It's really hard to find this instruction manual with the letter still attached. And wouldn't you know it, it's in pristine condition. It's lovely. Now, I won't spoil what the letter is for. Reading it won't actually do anything. It's one of the most amazing things about this game is the way that this letter is implemented in the game. So you might want to look that up for yourself or give Star Tropics a try, because it's so much fun, and that's a big, big thing about the game is the way you use this letter. It's so much fun. The manual itself, of course, is just as colorful as the Crystallis manual. It's got hand drawings of Mike. I think it's super cool, and it's really just, it makes you want to play the game. I think that stuff like this is super cool, and we don't have this anymore with today's day and age, because all of the manuals are digital now, and they're just text only. There's no drawings or anything drawing you in, or letting you know what kind of world you're about to enter. it's just boring nowadays. So these are a good vestige of my childhood that I really appreciate picking up whenever I see them. So thank you so much to that store whose name I forgot because I'm dumb and didn't remember it, and I didn't bother to look it up before I made this video, so it's gonna be in the description. But definitely go check them out after you look at the description to see what store it was. They are fantastic. And again, huge shout outs to my friend Nathaniel and his lovely wife Shannon, and to anyone who has ever helped me with my video game collection, because it means a hell of a lot to me. So that's it for May of 2018. June is here. And as you well know, that means it's hot outside, which means it's probably not going to rain a lot, which means people are going to have a lot of yard sales, which means I'm going to go to a lot of yard sales. I'll see you there. Take it easy.